Hi, I am back. I'm going to wait or waffle for a minute to let people rejoin the stream, hopefully as they re-find it. Yeah, the stream just dropped out completely there. Thanks for letting me know in the chat. I would have waffled on for ages otherwise and not had a clue about that. But yes, so if I say yeah, I've had a little bit of instability on my streams of late. It's been very frustrating, to say the least. So anyway, yes, the development diary part 4 zones and signature buildings are indeed, I mean, it's the most exciting of all of. Are we? Hang on, let me just make sure we are definitely to the world. Oh, are we unlisted still? Oh, try that again. Public. There we go. Why is that showing as unlisted? Public. Now, hopefully we are now visible. This is a little bit embarrassing. The second false start there is definitely down to me. Hopefully there won't be a third false start. I don't think I could take any more of this. But yes, I'll waffle for a moment, give people a chance to rejoin the stream as they find that I've started again. So yes, a little bit oopsie moment there. Right, so we've got quite an interesting little stream. Hi, Rafa. Hi, Atomic. Yeah, my streams have been so unstable lately. I don't know what is the problem. But yeah, I'm going to waffle for a moment. But yes, we do let me know. Atomic, Rafa, if the stream goes down, name. If the stream goes down, let me know in the chat in the side there. I've got it fully visible so I can actually see if there's a problem. Just the stream dropped. I've been having problems with that. I've got really good internet. Not your internet, don't worry. You missed nothing. I'm as soon as I realised it was down, which was thanks to you guys in the chat, I basically stopped the stream. I've restarted a new one. We've not done anything. So yeah, we're literally right at the top of the show. I haven't even run the video yet. So yeah, nobody's missed anything. But yes, one thing we can do before we start rolling the video, you know that right at the bottom of the video screen there's a little thumbs up thing with a number 2 beside it. Everybody who's here, can you give it a little click right now? That would be great. Just to get the stream a little bit of love. All right, it's not much to ask. A little bit of love on the like button. Right, so it was 1 minute. Yes, literally the stream went out instantly. So yes, please let me know. Hi everybody. Hi Noah. The intro, you're not wrong. So yes, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is with the stream. I've got really good internet. I've got a real fast upload speed, but for some reason my streams just are unstable. I don't understand why. And it's clearly not even a game running in the background either. It's just something really weird. Anyway, oh, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody who's hit the like button. I will remind, hopefully we'll get a few more people join in at some point, and we'll remind them all. And if I forget to remind, if you can remind them in the chat as well, that'd be great. So yeah, you've missed nothing. Right, so this is, without doubt, right from the top of the show, without doubt, the best. What's this? So far it's so good, no buffers. Good. Touch wood. Touch wood, it'll stay like that. It's British internet, yes. Oh heck, this got the Brexit in mind. Anyway, so it's packed with information. We're going to we'll watch the video as always. A couple of things in the video that caught my eye that I just want to stop back at and to showcase with you. And then we've got a lot of reading. There's a lot of stuff in there. Unlike usually where they go, oh, have we not told you this already? And they've told us 4 times in the diary itself. It's like, oh, this week, no. It's Some of it will go, well, I know that already. Yep. But a lot of it, there's stuff in there where you will be excited. I was excited. Right, okay, let's get going. But please do let me know. Yes, good. Right, so Development Diary 4, Zones and Signature Buildings. Hi everyone, welcome back to Cities Skylines II Development Diaries. This time we'll take a look at the zoning. What's new and what's familiar to the original City Skylines. A brand new and exciting feature is signature buildings, a hybrid between unique and zone buildings, which I've got to say I'm really sold on. Way better than the old unique buildings, way better. More on how you can get them and how they benefit your dream city later. If the roads are the bones and the arteries of the city, then the zones must be the meat fleshing out the city. The various zone types create the bulk of the city, spawning suburban areas, apartment building blocks, busy commercial districts, noisy industrial parks recognisable by their smokestacks, and sleek high-rise office complexes made out of glass and concrete. Each zone type has its own requirements to flourish in a functioning city. They all benefit from each other. Factories need places to ship their products, companies need employees need homes, shopping opportunities and places to spend their free time. Watch the video below, which we'll do in just 1 second, for a quick walkthrough. And given what's in there are only literally, this is a quick walkthrough, it skips quite a bit of the features or dive straight into the details. Right, so are you sitting comfortably? Good, then we shall begin. Here we go.
Every decision you make weaves a thread into the fabric of your city. But don't for a second imagine a smooth, seamless surface. Cities don't work like that. Instead, it's an urban patchwork marked by the realities of life and living. You'll create and stitch it together with zoning. Zoning lets you decide where people live and work. You create these residential, commercial, and industrial zones with zoning tools. They work in a couple of different ways. Click and drag over cells on the map to zone large rectangular areas. Zone all adjacent cells with one click. Or get granular, zoning a neighborhood cell by cell. When you establish a city, you choose a map. The map's theme dictates if your city's buildings will have a North American or European architectural style. You can now use zoning tools to mix it up. Go on, sprinkle a little North American flair into your European city, or vice versa. Okay, you know how zoning tools work, but what can you zone? Well, let's start with residential zones. The places and spaces where citizens relax with friends, raise families, and rest their heads night after night. There are now 6 residential zone types. 2 will be familiar: low-density housing, detached houses for single families, and high-density housing, tall towers packed with residents. New zoning types include medium-density row housing and medium-density apartment buildings. There's low-rent housing now too, huge apartment buildings with tiny apartments. Finally, there's mixed housing. Here, residents live in apartments above ground floor shops. Mixed housing adds next-level realism because homes and shops rub elbows like most real-world city centers. Ready to talk business? You'll create dedicated commercial zones where companies sell the locally produced and imported goods people need and want. Your commercial zones are also where citizens and tourists eat out, catch the latest blockbuster, and dance until dawn. You'll establish industrial zones with factories, workshops, and warehouses where businesses can store goods ready for distribution or export. You'll also develop office zones. Here you'll find small, low-density buildings with only a few businesses in operation. You'll also get the glittering, high-density towers that define your city's silhouette in the sky. Growing your city and zoning go hand in hand. Here's an example. You zone residential areas that boost the population, and with it, the demand for jobs. You respond by creating an industrial zone with factories where people get to work. Now, these factories produce goods, but they won't stay in business long without somewhere to sell them. You solve that problem by expanding commercial zones. You see? Each zone helps create the momentum you need to realize the city of your dreams. And it wouldn't be the city of your dreams without signature buildings. These are unique residential, commercial, industrial, and office buildings that you unlock as your city expands. They're free to build, and you can plop them anywhere. Plop. It's Cities Skylines lingo. Go on, say it. Plop. What's so special about signature buildings? Well, they function like any zoned building. A home for people, a warehouse for industry, an office for workers. But they can elevate the neighborhood in unique ways. Signature buildings can also bring citywide benefits. Zone and place your signature buildings carefully so each city district flourishes and plays its part in the success of the whole city. Life's rich tapestry has never been richer than in Cities Skylines II.
Fantastic. Right, so there's a lot in that. One or two things I really want to pick out. Right now, I see what you say there about using the US flag when there's 3 countries in North America. Yeah, I get that. But I'm going to pick out something a little bit deeper than that. Okay, it's also shallower, but deeper. Let's go back. I'm going to roll through on this again. Let me roll the volume down a little bit because she's got a lovely voice, but I only want to hear it once, right?
Instead, it's an urban patchwork
yeah,
marked by the
great,
realities of
great
life and living.
The water actually there looked really very choppy.
Marked by
if you have a look here, we've got, it's almost like a tidal wave coming in here. I mean, natural disasters are definitely confirmed, which you will see in a minute. But this, look at the water along here. What's going on with this water?
Realities of life and living. You'll create and stitch it
anyway,
together.
Looks stunning. Great skyline. Great
lets you decide where people live and work.
Purple is office.
Residential, commercial, and industrial zones with zoning tools. They work in a couple of different ways.
We have got.
Click and...
If I'm going to take this back just a step there. 6 different types of residential zoning now, which are covered in the text below, which we'll get to in a moment.
In a couple of different ways. Click and drag over cells on the map
zoning,
to zone large
is
rectangular
what we're
areas.
used to. What
Zone
we're
all
used
adjacent
to.
cells
Marquee,
with one click. Or get granular.
The
Zoning
paint,
a neighborhood
fill,
cell
and
by
then
cell. When you establish
tile,
a city,
why not? Now,
choose...
who knew that I was going to stop here? We have got our first view of the maps. But before we even get to the maps, we've got, there's your loading screen. Now the loading screen, obviously we have continue game, new game, load game, editor. Not editors, editor. Now whether that's an editor menu with various editors within could be interesting. Then you've got Paradox mods, which will be the vanilla mods, I'm assuming. But as you're going to see in I think it's in this video. Is it in the video? Or yeah, I'm sure it's in the video. You're going to see something which makes me wonder, do what? Paradox mods. I'm a little confused by Paradox mods. Options, credits, and exit. Okay, I'm with you on that one.
When you establish a city,
if we stop here, we've got the 12 vanilla maps that I can't quite read on. Hang on, I'm going to pull my head into the screen. Archipelago something Haven, Barrier Island, Great Highlands, and Lakeland, is that? Mountain Village, River Delta, San Francisco, yep, a San Francisco map, Sweeping Plains, Tampere, which obviously is the hometown of Glossalorda, Twin Mountains, and there's a couple down here which I can't. Windy something fjords, Windy Fjords, and unfortunately the more videos things are over there. But at the end of the day, this looks really good. But you'll see over here we've got, for the Archipelago Haven, we have a theme of European, latitude Northern Hemisphere. Now this one is specifically for who was it? I've lost you. I'll find you in a moment. Oh, it was Name. Hi Name. Watch this. Right, we'll just skip across. Right, so this is deep and shallow at the same time. This is the Barrier Island is a North American theme, latitude Southern Hemisphere. So if you're going to moan, about the US flag, US flag in the Southern Hemisphere, it's just the style of the buildings. All right. They are more US than they are Mexico And of course, Canada would tie closer to the US, I guess. Anyway, we'll roll that along a little bit
The
further.
map's theme.
Great Highlands, again, European. See, yeah, if you're going to complain about the US flag as well, we've got the flag of the European Union. Countries that aren't included in the European Union include Norway, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, where I is right now. So yeah, it's just a generic flag. It's fine. It's not excluding. It is excluding Mexico and the United Kingdom, isn't it? That's what it is. But anyway, looks great. We've got the latitudes, we've got buildable area size, the connections, and the availability of resources on each of these maps as well, which is very nice. So this is the first time we've seen these. My first instinct of these maps, some of them look a little bit more interesting than others. That's always going to be the case, though, isn't it? Yeah, something to look forward to. But anyway, yes, our first glance at the vanilla maps.
Dictates
We
if your
roll
city's
this along a little
buildings
bit
will have
further.
North
Now,
American.
pause it that there. We got drop down here. We've got the ability to, well, we got with the theme is regarding road styles, that kind of thing, because you can choose your building styles within game. But also, let me bring that back just a fraction, because there we go. You can opt for left-hand or right-hand traffic. Natural disasters, you've got a check button for that. And then you've got unlock all and unlock money, which I would have said are paradox mods, correct? I would say that. So what are the paradox mods on the main screen if these are not paradox mods? These are on the map options. Interesting, I think. Then you can disable tutorials, etc. there as well. So I'm really excited by that. Let me have a quick look at the chat. It looks very busy at the moment. Let me have a quick look down on the chat. So yeah, you're not wrong. You're yes, you were wrong because you weren't using the apostrophe. Well done. Raina, hi Raina. Road markings always seem American. Yes, but you can opt on this button here. Where were we? The theme here. You can switch between European and North American road markings. I'm sure that's what that does. It'll be in the text down below. We'll get to that in a moment. I saw some of the European style. I must say I don't know how to feel of that. I haven't seen enough. It's true. We are very early in all the screenshots and informations. But, well, no. Of course, let's talk about the maps. A bit disappointed about them. Yeah. Disappointed, hard to say. On the top down views, some of them really look very uninspiring, but I'm sure I'm going to be making a video based just off of that screenshot in the coming days. Bear with me. I think we'll be looking at a map special on Sunday. If the thumbnails show the full map, they're about 18 kilometers again. Well, yes, who knows exactly, but yeah, could be. There we go. Map packs and workshop will fix my needs later. Of course they will. Unrelated, I've seen somewhere that homeless sisters. Yes, that'll be in the text down below. We'll get to that in a moment. An all-in-one editor. I'm not sure how that would work. I feel the maps are just examples. They feel like random map generators. I don't know so much. A San Francisco random map or a Tampere random map are... I mean, these are real locations. I don't think they are. I would like there... I've got it down as one of my wish list. I would like there to be a random generator. You set in some base settings and it will... I would like to see that. Put in a random, or put in a seed and you'll get a map. But there we go. More in the American English. They use instead like you, if that's what you like. Anyway, basic map CS1 had these. Yes, we start off with the maps. No matter how bland or boring they are, you know, if we have an editor, we're going to have the triple A-listers producing amazing maps in no time. Means you are in the game. Yes, everyone always calls me a disaster. Paradox mods probably referred to the launcher itself. I don't know. Does that mean it will have a workshop? It has been pretty much confirmed, I think. Revo is already confirmed that day one there will be trains on the workshop. I'm assuming that means that he's like a little bit behind the scenes, possibly. Maybe. Unlimited ore and oil, could be. Of course, we'll have a workshop. So yes, they can't not have a workshop. It's what's kept the current game alive. It's what they have the workshop to thank for as much as anything that the game is still alive. Oh, and of course the pandemic. Anyway, European theme. Sprinkle. I want to get into the meat of this official global height map on integration. That'd be neat. I'd love that. Mind you, I've already put that down in video as well. Right, let's see
North
what else
American
we had.
or European architectural style.
There was something else in here I want to show
now
you.
use zoning tools to
A
mix
lot of
it
this
up.
is very.
Sprinkle a little
I'm going to
North
skip over
American
some of this.
flair
Row
into your
houses we know
European
about.
city, or vice
She's
versa.
covered a lot of
Okay, you
that.
know how zoning tools work, but what can you
where
zone?
were we?
Well, let's start with residential zones. The places and spaces where
Have a
citizens
little
relax
look
with
at
friends,
this.
race with it, the demand for jobs.
Right. So now, this is industrial. Specialised industry farming. Have a look at the bottom of the screen here. The player is amending the boundary of this farming area. And watch what happens at the end. So here we go.
Creating an industrial
Amends the boundary,
zone with factories where
and we
people
end
get to
up
work.
with, it's very quick.
Now, industrial zone
It is,
with factories where people
back up there, come
and
on,
with it,
back up.
the demand for jobs. You
Back up, right. So
by
amends the boundary,
creating an
and
industrial zone.
then you have a farmland which is of this shape with one building. We're going to have much better farms now. Dang it, he just missed my message. Did I miss your message? Where's your message? Raphael. So I'm scrolling up for I feel that maps are going to be examples. Did I miss that? Or maybe it wasn't me? Unacceptable. But anyway, I'm going to carry on.
With
I'm going to
factories
carry
where
on.
people get
So
to
yeah,
work.
so that was something.
These factories produce goods, but
was,
they
and
won't
look at
stay in
the
business long
farms.
without somewhere to sell them.
That's
You
a
solve that
vast
problem
improvement.
by
A
expanding
vast
commercial
improvement.
zones. You see,
On top
each
of that,
zone
signature
helps
buildings we'll be
create the
talking
momentum
about
you
when I
need to
read
realize
through.
the city
There's
of
just
your
one more thing I
dreams.
wanted to show you
And it wouldn't be the city
that
of your
caught my
dreams
eye, which
without
isn't
signature
actually
buildings.
part of
Zone
this
and place
trailer,
your
but it
signature
is
buildings
actually obviously
carefully,
in
so
the video.
Each city district
And that
flourishes.
is, if I pause the simulation here, or pause the video here, see that little black dot there? Let me take it back. Trust me on this one when I tell you that that is a helicopter.
Its part in the success of the whole city.
That is a helicopter.
Life's rich tapestry has
Helicopters are in the game, not really surprising. Are they? How much are they in the game? Maybe we're going to learn more about helicopters pretty soon on. What, your message is gone? Not about the homeless citizen. I read the homeless citizen thing. I definitely remembered reading about homeless citizens. He said, Rafa, but I have obviously seen that homeless citizen. Yeah, they'll be in the chat. In the text. Shall we crack on with the words? Okay, we have words. Right? I'm going to do some word reading. Zoning tools. Right, the zoning tools feature the familiar options, fill, marquee, and paint tools. The fill tool fills all the continuous zoning cells with the selected zone type. The marquee tool allows you to select a rectangular area of any size and fill that with the selected zone type. And the paint tool makes it possible to create very specific zoned areas, painting one cell at a time. Be nice if we could like resize the brush, but there you go. Want to create separate 2x2 residential zones with the paint tool you can. I'm suspecting that this isn't confirming that we have 2x2 paintbrushes. Who knows? I don't know. I do not know. But anyway, so anyway, we have this first image here with the 6 different types of residential zone that we've got. They are going to be listed down below, so don't worry if you can't make them out. And then you can choose of these 6 zones from either European theme or American theme. So light density residential in the European theme, skyrise American theme, that kind of vibe, right? Anyway, dezoning has been simplified. Dezoning has been simplified. Dezoning no longer has a separate tool. Thank goodness. I always used to right click anyway. But you can dezone any zone type by pressing the right mouse button while you have any of the zoning tools active. While the fill tool is active, you can dezone an entire continuous area. With the marquee tool, you can dezone any type of rectangular area, and with the paint tool, you can dezone cell by cell. I mean, basically, don't think we needed the whole separate sentence there. You right click with the will dezone would have been enough information. Changing the zone type is also easier and faster, as it no longer requires you to dezone the previous zone type before adding the new one. That is a nice touch, I've got to say. So you can just overzone. That is definitely a plus. Is people still talking about that missing message? Mayhaps it's a police fire helicopter. Could be a police fire helicopter. Definitely could be that. Let's see if it sticks. Indeed. Now, the thing is, Bruce, I'm going to get to that about alternate themes. I think we're looking at DLCs. I think we are definitely looking at pay for DLCs to unlock a UK, Japanese, Australian themes. You heard it here first, or you read it from Bruce. Thanks, Bruce. But yeah, we're getting that. Anyway, sometimes it deletes a message when you use emoticon for some reason. Really? It shouldn't, but there we go. Because it's all built in. And it's all YouTube provided. Anyway, then we move on. Architectural themes. As a new feature, the zoning tools are able to zone buildings from different architectural themes. When starting a new city, one of the first options is to choose the theme for the city. A theme dictates the building's visual style, street markings and roadside props, as well as the look of service vehicles. So service vehicles, roadside props, street markings, American, European. With the zoning tool themes, you can zone buildings from both available architectural styles. And see that? Both available architectural styles. It is kind of suggesting there will be more architectural styles available. And I imagine, quite possibly, on the workshop. A North American European. A European city can feature North American style buildings and vice versa. So you can mix and match. Seems very nice. Oh, it has. Well done. Well done you for trying again and succeeding. Paradox Workshop menu might mean they aren't using Steam Workshop. Ooh. Ooh. There's a thought, Rafa. There is a thought. I don't know whether it's a good idea or not. Let me know in the chat, guys, what you think about the possibility that they're not using Steam. I don't know if I'm... Steam has certain limitations that bug me, like the search engine, for starters. Mind you, with a good search engine, WhatsApp wouldn't exist, and I probably wouldn't be talking to you now. So, there is that. Zone types. Cities Skylines II features more zone types than its predecessor. Now, if you've seen the thumbnail, right, if you've seen the thumbnail, you will have, yeah, the headline that I've got in the thumbnail is about to be covered. This is what you have been waiting for. So here we go. Cities Skylines II features more zone types than its predecessor. Residential zone types have been more than doubled. They have been more than doubled. If only there was a word for what they've done with the zoning types. Featuring 6 different zone types to create more diverse and realistic cities. Now, in Cities Skylines 1, we have 2 residential zone types, low and high density. We now have 6 different zone types, which is more than doubled. I'll give them that. Or they could have said trebled or tripled. Oh, come on. Roll me with it. It's a crap headline, but it's the best I could think of in like 5 minutes. There we go. So anyway, the familiar zones are still available. Low density with detached houses and high density with the tall residential towers. New residential zone types include medium density row housing with wall-to-wall homes, as shown in the screen below. Medium density housing with apartment buildings. Mixed housing with shops occupying the ground floor, which has been long overdue, and apartments taking up the rest of the buildings, and low rent housing with large apartment buildings housing lots of small apartments. Low rent housing is especially useful for low income residents, such as students and young adults who have moved out of their parents' house and live in their first apartment. I'm absolutely loving this selection of 6 different types, because you're going to be able to set up your cheaper accommodations closer to your campus areas. And if you're going to be having that and you want your youth needing to get into town, you're going to be providing cheap transport options, bus routes. This is going to be such a great game. This is going to be such a great game. Little look here. I am fine with it. Modio works fine for SnowRunner, both on PC and console. It's not the best, but it works fine. Good. What if I want all housing to be low rent? Why are they small flats? I want the city to own all the housing. All right. Not well. You could do the entire city as low rent housing if you want to. But I think you're going to struggle for. You need a mix. Every city has a mix, don't they? Every city has a mix. You've got to have a mix of housing. Low and medium density housing tend to have larger apartments, which most residents find appealing. However, the cost of living is usually higher in smaller buildings, such as detached houses, row houses, and medium-sized apartment buildings, as the costs are divided among fewer households. Now, I'm not sure that's how it works in real life, right? Your rent doesn't drop because there are fewer. Your rents are generally on like land value. You've got your what's the word I'm looking for? The footage. Or if you've got a big flat, it's likely to cost you more than a small flat. Doesn't matter whether you've got 2 people living in there or 20. It doesn't affect it that much, because at the end of the day, if I have got an apartment that takes up a whole floor, I'm going to let it out for as much as I can get. So I think that's like a bit, but at the end of the day, it's still a good mechanic. So I'm okay with the mechanic. The explanation I'm not buying into. Increasing land value affects smaller buildings more, as it affects the size of the rent in general. To a degree, I'd agree with that. On the other hand, high density housing can fit a lot of people into a small area, but its main negative aspect is that the apartments are usually small, which is how it works, isn't it? Conversely, the rents are more affordable, as the building's upkeep is divided among a large number of households. More about how that works in a moment. Excuse me. Hi, who have we got here? Ulrich. Hi, Ulrich. Who else have we got new? I'm sure I've missed a couple of people. If I missed you in the chat, I'm sorry. To make me feel bad about myself, could you give the video a little thumbs up right now? That'd be great. I'll feel so bad about myself if you give the video a thumbs up. Anyway, mixed housing seeks to bring a more realistic feel to the game by allowing you to build more traditional city centres where commercial and residential zones coexist. Mixed housing also answers 2 different zone type demands: medium residential housing and commercial, allowing both to occupy the precious space in the busy city centres. Commercial businesses pay a portion of the rent for mixed houses, which causes the rent for the households to be more affordable. And again, I'm in the United Kingdom. I don't know how this would work elsewhere, but housing above shops doesn't tend to be any cheaper. It can be more expensive because stores can have a large foot area, and if the flat above it is a large foot area, then the rent's going to be quite high because you've got a large flat. It tends to be done on foot size, but that's just the UK. Maybe it's different in your part of the world. I wonder if the population amount is to scale. We will find out. I think it is at the very least closer. At the very least closer, given from the numbers that we've been drip fed so far, it does look, whether it's accurate or super accurate, I don't know. One thing that I know there's going to be a few of you be looking at is the amount of traffic in this image. It's a little light, isn't it? This is, we've got quite a few cars. Again, along here, we've got a lot of cars parked. How many cars are in motion? I just see the one. Traffic flow seems a little bit light in these images. We will see. Commercial zones. Woohoo! Commercial zones feature low and high density buildings where companies sell all types of goods manufactured locally or or imported from outside connections. This includes everything from cars and groceries to clothes and paper products. Be interesting to see whether these are all individually trackable products or whether they're mostly generic. I'll be interested. From what I've seen a bit further down, I think they might all be individually broken down. So you can focus on cars or clothes or something like that in your city. They also provide citizens with leisure or, I hate this, leisure options. I hate that pronunciation, but I'm going with it just in case. In the form of restaurants, movie theatres, bars, hotels, and more. Commercial zones thrive close to residential areas as they provide them with customers. So, basically, do what you've been doing, is what we're saying. In Cities Skylines 1, do that again in Cities Skylines 2 when you're building. Now, the major differences between low and high density businesses, apart from their physical size, are the types of companies as well as the volume of goods they are able to sell to consumers. The low density businesses are usually boutiques, gas stations, small stores and bars, while the high density businesses tend to be supermarkets, department stores and various recreational locations such as theatres and hotels. Small businesses employ fewer workers and can serve smaller amounts of customers, while large businesses, on the other hand, are populated with many employees and thus can service a greater number of people. This also means they're able to sell more goods from their stock compared to smaller, low-density businesses. Basically, teaching us how to suck eggs here. Just in case you didn't know. Again, I reckon a lot of this is very useful for Google Analytics, so that this gets found when people search. We didn't need it, but thank you very much. We love you for it. Oh, it's that Sean build. Hi, Sean. What you been building? Oh, it's Skylines is here as well. Leisure for sure. No, it's not. We got the likely lads. I don't think we'll be seeing anything of this old game. They are still on vacation, so I doubt if they're going to be around. But yes, hi to the likely lads, Larry and Sean. Right, okay. This is a great image as well. Again, where's all the traffic? Where is all the traffic? I don't mind the cars parked, but where is the live traffic? Not seeing any. Commercial buildings offer a range of goods and activity. We know that, right? Commercial businesses, benefit from local manufacturing, which we know about already, but I will continue to read, as they have quick access to the goods they are selling. Don't have to wait weeks for the stuff to arrive. Local manufacturers also benefit from nearby commercial companies, as the transportation costs of manufactured goods to retailers are low, and allowing them to earn higher profits per unit sold. Sure you're right. Anyway, industrial zones. Industrial zones are divided into manufacturing companies and warehouses. Now we're getting to stuff that hasn't been covered in the video. Oh, bless you, Sean. Love you, Sean. Love you, love you, love you. Have my children. No, really, take them. Don't want them. Oh, hang on. What's this? I think you found something in the Dev Diary video. Yes, we've done that. We're not going back. There's probably going to be a special on Sunday based on that 3 seconds of video footage. Don't you just know it, Larry? Don't you just know it? Anyway, Industrial zones are divided into manufacturing companies and warehouses. Manufacturing encompasses most of the industrial zones as factories and workshops, while warehouses appear here and there. So we're going to be dotting warehouses around to sort of like manage the stock levels around. I think that's where we're going to be going with that one. Answering the needs of different companies and their production processes. Warehouses store produced goods that are ready to be shipped further but are still waiting for transport or suitable buyers. So yes, you're definitely going to want to be having lots and lots of dotted warehouses around your city. Local industry, blah, 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 blah. Again, really lovely image. Looks like we have a truck on the road. Looks like we actually have traffic. I see traffic. I see a truck. Just the one truck. Right, industrial zones manufacture goods from materials that are either transported from outside connections by delivery trucks or extracted and processed locally in specialised industrial areas. Some goods are sold to commercial business, who then sell them to customers, for example, food. So your farming industry will just go straight to the store and then straight out to the customer. While other goods are first sold to commercial businesses where they are further converted into products or immaterial goods such as beverages being turned into entertainment. So yeah, people go for a night out at the bar, they're not going to take that beverage home. What they're going to do is they're going to consume it and have fun. And there are other examples of immaterial goods in this dev diary. So if you want to know more about immaterial goods, hang around. Again, also, can we possibly have a click on the like button if you haven't already done it? Thank you. Hi Kevin. Oh, why are you sad? Why are you sad? Atomica, my wife really wants a child, but for some reason it doesn't work. Could you send us one of your kids? Oh yeah, I'll put them in a sealed bin liner, sellotaped. I might put one air hole in there for you. They might taste quite good when they arrive, possibly. Festering. Service a greater number of people. I'm trying hard to make a your mum joke. Yeah, indeed. Anyway, where were we? So, did we read all this? Industrial zones attempt to sell goods to local buyers first. If there is overproduction of a type of goods, the companies will ship the excess production to outside connections. But selling to the local market is always more profitable due to the lower transportation costs. Continuing to sell to outside connections will further decrease the profit as they have to ship the goods further and further to new buyers. So there's a lot going on here. There is a lot going on. If you're producing a lot, if you're producing too much, then there's going to be a lot of extra balancing required to keep your industry happy. Continuing to sell to will further decrease. We covered that. Simulating the eventual oversaturation of the market. Companies in general seek to reevaluate their businesses every now and then, adjusting the number of employees to match the current business landscape and market needs. This is different. Previously, you'd have a factory and it would require 20 workers. Now you're going to have a factory that may have 20 workers, but they may reduce it 18 or 15 if they haven't got enough work. This, I've got to say, there's so much in this dev diary this week that it just makes you want to play the game, get your hands on it and do more. Right, so anyway, we do appear to have a little van down there. So it looks like one vehicle on the road. It does look like it's clipping into the road though. So a little bit of a minus point. It's either that or it's got flat tyres. Let's say it's got flat tyres. Hi Jurgen. Jurgen's in the room. Office zones. Now, office zones are not what you're expecting them to be. If you haven't read this ahead of the plan, this is not what you're not expecting this. Similar to commercial zones, office zones are divided into low-density offices with small office buildings and high-density offices featuring glass-walled skyscrapers and office towers. So 2 different types of office zones where we only had one before. Offices produce immaterial goods and services for private citizens and companies alike. Office companies convert technological goods manufactured in industrial zones into software. Now, don't think it quite works that way. I'm going to make a microchip and an office is going to turn it into software, but I get the idea. We need some sort of mechanic to make it work. And further into other immaterial goods such as telecom, finance and media. So offices are actually going to be producing stuff now. Office zone companies include banks, electronics retailers, law firms, insurance companies and telecommunication companies. Telecommunications was actually something that I put forward as a suggested DLC for Cities Skylines 1. It wasn't grabbed, but it's good to see it's already in this game, or will be in this game. Software is an important type of immaterial good for both the industrial and office sectors as they produce various goods. However, software in itself isn't sold to private customers. Other goods produced from software, such as telecom and finance, have a wider reach as private customers also benefit from them. Media is sold directly to citizens in the form of consumer electronics, video games and such. So this is quite interesting. In software is produced, Rowie, office companies convert technological goods manufactured. So you need industrial zone to produce technological goods, which an office company will convert into software. And then somewhere else will, in the office area, will produce from the software telecom, finance and other immaterial goods. So it's like 4 layers, and to make the technological goods, you're going to need raw materials. So you're going to need 5 layers. This is quite complex. I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving it. So can I just nationalise the industry? You can do whatever you want, Rainer. You can do whatever you want. You don't like the textures in the game. I've said it before. I will say it again. While they may not be updated, they may not, texture work is something that can be left until quite late in the development. What you want is a working model that is smooth, and then you can populate with better texture work or new vehicles, extra vehicles and so on. That's the sort of thing that can be added later. The textures, especially with the roads, I get where you're coming from. I'm not going to say I'm the biggest fan. It's a different aesthetic from what we're used to with the roads. I'm not the biggest fan, but I also don't hate it as much as some people. Anyways, yeah, I know where you're coming from, Kevin, though. I really do. So they're complaining. Employers will adjust. I'm sure they'll complain as well. But yes, not enough goods and all that. Maybe they won't complain so much. Well, you need computers to write software. You do. Yes, Larry, absolutely. This is why you're a guest on Cities Skylines 2 o'clock. Seems like a complete overhaul. It is. Well, it's much deeper than it was. Much deeper than it was. I'm loving that. Much more depth, yes. They're still developing the... Oh, well, Kevin, this is the thing. Computer games are... If it was ready now, if it was ready to go now, why would you just sit on it? And why are you waiting until October? What they're saying is we've got like an alpha version of the game ready to go. All the technical stuff is working. We might be doing some little tweaks here and there, but if you look at the vehicles in the game, in the videos that we've seen so far, it's like 5 vehicles repeated. they're going to add a lot of extra vehicles to the game. Textures, it's something that can be done later on in the process. Once you've got something that works, then you can just add to the content, add to the aesthetics. All the people that are complaining about the yellow lights that we've got here, this is the sort of thing they can tweak fairly easily. But if you say, well, the traffic flow doesn't work, the traffic model doesn't work, all the vehicles are driving straight across the park, well, clearly that needs to work. And we've got a far more complicated industrial network system now, so that's something that takes a lot of time to get the game balance right. And again, that's assuming that the game balance is right. That's giving them credit for something we haven't seen yet, but assuming it works and it flows well. All the little things like textures, yeah, you can get some graphic artists in to upgrade the textures. And especially things like this sort of video, if there's somebody from Paradox watching in the background, they go, all the people that don't like the textures of our road, maybe we should change the roads before release. Wouldn't take much. They've only got to upgrade the textures and maybe tweak the road markings. It's not the world's biggest job. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Anyway, adding feedback to the game before launch. Indeed, yes. Well, this is what it's all about. We can let them know. And again, I've said this before, other than I've also said hit the like button. I am not affiliated with Paradox. I can say whatever I like, right? I'm not getting paid. I'm not on the payroll. I haven't signed I have in the past signed an NDA, but nothing that's related to this at all. So I've not seen what's behind the scenes. If I said to you, let's talk about the yellow lights. If I hate the yellow lights, I don't mind them that much. I mean, they do stand out. Now it's been mentioned to me. But I don't hate them as much as some people. But if I really hated them, I'll say it. Because at the end of the day, I've got nothing to lose. I can be honest. And you'll always get honesty from me, even if I'm wrong. I'll be honest, but wrong. Anyway. Zone suitability. It's still plenty to go here. Each zone type has a zone suitability info view, which activates when you start zoning. Depending on the zone type, it shows pertinent information about which areas are suitable for the selected zone type. As an example, zoning commercial areas shows information about where the potential customers are located in the city, while zoning a residential area highlights the ground pollution, so it's easy to avoid when zoning. It also shows areas that might be otherwise unsuitable, perhaps due to high land value, making rent for low density housing very high. This is all going to be really good. All really, really good. It's just going to help you plan your city just a little bit easier than kind of guessworking. I like it. Next is zone demand. Look, we've got new screen coming. Right, rolling up. Right. City growth is largely based on the different zone types, needing more space and a symbiotic relationship between them. New citizens move in and require housing, which increases residential demand. The new citizens then need jobs and places to go shopping and spend their free time, so industrial and commercial demand increases. As industrial manufacturing increases, they need places to sell their produce goods, which also includes commercial zone demand. And as more companies are founded, more job positions become available, which in turn increases demand for residential housing. All of this is basically what you and I already know, okay? But again, it's going to work really good for Google Analytics for sharing the Paradox Forum and this article if people are searching. Right, adjusted taxes for the different education levels, as well as the various goods produced and sold in the city, can have a great effect on local demand. Taxes can be used to favour different goods and products manufacturing in the city, or simply giving a helping hand to fledgling industries. So, if you really want to push a specific sort of industry, if you really want to get your oil manufacturing up, you can tweak the taxes to give the oil people a little bit of a push, because, I mean, they're really skint. We've got to help the oil people, haven't we? They ain't got much money. Anyway, excuse me. So this is the commercial demand screen on the city information, medium density residential demand. We've got a negative there. Again, I'm not sure if you can read these, so I'll just let you know. This is the unoccupied buildings is a negative. Availability of jobs here is negative, but we have a positive on happiness, taxes and students. High density residential demand, similar, in fact it's exactly the same. Commercial demand, we have pluses for low skilled labour availability, gas station availability, high skilled labour availability, local demand and taxes. And in the industrial demand, we have a negative by unoccupied buildings, positives by high skilled labour, low skilled labour, taxes and local demand. So there's all sorts of little things on the demand. We have a city policies button, which obviously I cannot click. Well, I can click, but it's just an image, so it won't show us anything. Right, and population, 112,738 here. That's pretty neat. Anyway, let's rolling down, moving on. Residential demand. Residential demand increases when new citizens want to move in. Citizens moving in for work, students seeking education opportunities, or people simply wanting to move in because the city is an inviting location to raise their families. Families and seniors prefer large apartments, thus increasing the low and medium density housing demand. Single person households and students don't shy away from smaller apartments, favouring medium density apartment buildings and high density residential towers. The living costs are also divided among a higher number of households, making living cheaper in those zone types, which I mentioned briefly earlier, that I'm not exactly sure that's how things work, but the mechanic makes sense, so I'm happy with that. Again, look at how busy those roads are. Where's all the traffic? Where's all the traffic? Anyway, rolling down. Residential zone demand also increases as jobs in the industrial, commercial and office sectors become available. The zones require a workforce as the new workers move in. They demand suitable housing. When unemployment increases and jobs aren't available, residential demand decreases until the issues are remedied. So, residential demand, blah, 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 blah. So, unemployment increases, jobs aren't available, therefore, residential demand will decrease because I'm not going to move there, there's high unemployment. That's basically what we're saying. If the city has a large number of built but unoccupied homes, this is good. Residential demand will decrease until the available homes become occupied. You're not going to have residential demand if you have loads of empty houses, because demand, clearly. Bye, Kev. Bye. Was it something I said? Ulrich. Final build for shipping can not be too large due to download and installing. Hang on. Am I missing something? Did I? Is there something above I haven't read? Let me keep going. Oh, usually put a disclaimer on the videos that gameplay is from beta builds. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, there is always that. Right, 3 months ago, maybe that's why there aren't many cars on the roads. This is also true, but I would have thought they would still be on the roads, even if it is only from a select, like we know, smart cars, like an SUV, taxis, there's a couple of others, motorbike without a rider. So all these little things, yeah, if there's like five vehicles in the game, surely just these 5 vehicles will spawn in. Because a vehicle has, well, spawn in. It's got to be owned by somebody. Where are all the cars belonging to all the people that live in this neighbourhood? Where are they? Maybe they're all at work. That'll be it. They're all at work. We're taking this image during the day while everybody's at work. City looking at ghost towns. Yeah, like I say, it is still early though. There's still 3 months for the game to be tweaked. And once it's released and we have 1 million people playing it, they're going to find a whole bunch of things, because we're all going to be moaning, you do know there's no vehicles on the roads, and they go, oh, we didn't know that. And there'll be patches. There will be patches. Anyway, we've read that. Commercial demand. We're still going. Commercial zone demand is based on manufacturers producing goods for sale and the availability of potential customers, as well as citizens needing jobs. When industrial zones produce goods, they need to sell them to make a profit. As the local market is always a more profitable option, they want to sell their goods within the city, which increases the need for local commercial companies. However, having goods and products to sell is only half of the business. The commercial zones also require enough purchasing power from the local citizens to not only survive but to flourish. Thus, the local demand for goods and products is an extremely important factor in the commercial demand. Citizens want to buy things for their households, but they also simply want to spend time in their favourite leisure activities, which includes shopping. So it's all there. It's all there. It all interplays with each other. We're not saying there's anything really groundbreaking here, but it all interplays. Here we go, another street with no traffic. We got the bus. Maybe they're all on the bus. A little bit of parking. Good to see the parking bays being used. All the smart cars. All the smart cars, right. Right, so commercial demand also increases if companies detect the availability of a suitable workforce in the city. When companies have the needed employees to fill the required positions, their profitability increases. This is interesting. So if we imagine in Silicon Valley, and you've got a lot of highly educated software engineer type people there, where am I going to launch my software company? Well, maybe Silicon Valley. Or maybe I'm going to launch it in Nairobi in Africa, which has probably got fewer. So you're going to go where the work is. I like this. If you've got a flourishing software engineering area, or industrial engineering area, this is really great. This is really, really great. I'll catch up with the chat in a second. I'm going to see if I can't get through. I'm going to read through industrial demand first, and then we'll catch up with the chat. Industrial demand is based on citizens needing jobs in the manufacturing sector, as well as local commercial companies requiring goods and products to sell. The demand can be further increased by the availability of local resource extraction by specialised industries, which we're kind of used to. Setting up specialised industrial areas provides materials for manufacturing locally, decreasing transport costs and thus increasing profits. So again, if you can provide your local industry, your wood, your ore, your oil, anything else that's required. I mean, I'm guessing paper is produced from the wood. There's going to be a lot to learn, and that's what's going to really make the game just be on another level. Anyway, worker availability is one of the cornerstones of industrial demand. Attracting new citizens to the city directly affects the demands of the various sectors, including industrial zones. As companies always seek to optimize their production, they are in search of suitable workers. As companies increase in levels, their requirements shift to more educated employees. This leads to increased productivity and efficiency, which in turn manifests in higher profits. So again, as a factory goes up from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, you're going to need better educated workers. Manufacturing also benefits from having local warehouses to store produce goods and products. Companies tend to have relatively small storage facilities and seek to sell all of their products as quickly as possible. Warehouses allow more flexibility and time to seek suitable new buyers if no one is currently available and keep production going. So warehouses are absolutely critical, or the factories will just run to a halt, and you really don't want that. Right, let me have a quick chat. Look at the chat. City looking like a go. We covered that one. It could be because of the time of the day. Yes. The amount of traffic in CS1 is ridiculous compared to the numbers of people. Yes. I live in a small city of about 60,000 people, and the largest traffic queue would be of about 5 cars. Well, my city is a little over 60,000, and I can promise you, and well, I'm calling it a city. I mean, it's a good-sized British town. Good-sized British town, over 60,000, and I'm telling you, we have a lot worse traffic than 5 cars. Anyway, that's just where I am anyway. Or the rest of the United Kingdom as well, for that matter. They did mention cargo ships will produce lots of traffic. This is true. We'll have a lot of trucks because of them. I agree. There's not a road in any of my cities that doesn't have a lot of traffic compared to what there would be in real life. Indeed. Right, moving on. Office demand. Because again, office is something a little bit new, a little bit different from what we're used to. Office demand is increased by citizens wanting to work in the office sector, as well as citizens and businesses needing the various immaterial goods that offices provide. Manufacturing industry and other office... Hang on. Immaterial, is that actually a word? I mean, it is a word, but I've never used it in this sense. Immaterial. Interesting. Anyway, manufacturing industry and other office companies benefit from the software developed in the office zones. As software is produced, more office companies appear as they can further develop the software into other services. So what we have is effectively a software chain. It's you need your industrial to produce your microchips or whatever to then be able to be used by the software companies. Software companies produce the software for the banking industry to buy the software from, and then it's just a steady path. One leads into another, leads into another. It's beautiful. The highway, I see traffic on the highway. Not much, but I see some. A little bit. It could be that $2.20 has speed built some of this, and basically we don't have any traffic down here for a reason. Maybe there's some form of copy paste going on. Maybe. Who knows? Office zone demand also benefits greatly from finding suitable workers to boost productivity and efficiency in the companies. Similar to other companies, the better the workforce matches the needs of the company, the more profitable they will be. Depending on the age range of the customers, different types of immaterial goods are preferred. Adults and seniors favour banking services. Very stereotypical. Yes, all I want is banking. From the financial sector. While children and teens consume more media products. I don't think they've met adults and seniors of the 21st century. I don't know if you know, heard of this thing called gaming, and I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing that you've bought a game at some point, and I'm guessing that you're probably over the age of 25. Anyways, right, so yeah. Oh, yes, Kevin. I don't know what's going on with the. Try making comments without the emojis. That seems to be a problem. We haven't got to the homeless, but we are. I know we're getting closer. We're getting close. Working down. If I didn't look at the chat, we would have finished by now. Right. City specialization. This is where I think things get really interesting. Companies working with the same materials and producing similar products benefit from each other's proximity. Fact. Industries and offices concentrate on areas where similar companies already exist. They communicate with each other and have a better chance to hire specialised workers to increase their efficiency. As more and more companies produce the same type of goods or products, they gain a citywide specialisation bonus. Which increases their efficiency and thus their profit. So your city could become the world centre for toilet paper. I'm guessing toilet paper might be a thing. City specialisation can be assisted by setting up specialised industry areas which harvest materials used by the companies, gaining the city specialisation bonus. Also, adjusting taxes to be more favourable to those products and goods helps the industries develop even further. So you're going to be juggling. You want more taxes so that you can spend money on your new harbour, but you also want to help your cities to grow by having lower taxes. Real interesting. Not just set your taxes to 12 and off you go. No more of that shenanigans. Right, land value and building levels. Land value is a tool to understand which locations are desirable for citizens and companies, and it spreads through the roads to the building's close neighbourhoods, slowly increasing the value of the area in general. This is a little bit different because land value didn't spread via roads previously. It was proximity, wasn't it? Now roads seems to be the way that this, like here we've it can't quite make out from the legends, but yeah, the darker the blue, the more land value we have for the terrain. And then the building value is if you're yellow, and if you go down to red, you go to, this is all high value. So pretty much all high value there. Right. I didn't even realise you're making a dad joke. Was it me? Also, don't put dots in the comments. Hey, what? Who? I saw in the chat that we need to move it, find it, and Rico. We don't need them, but we want them. There's no sign of a move it, sorry, of a find it. And I'm hoping, if we scroll up and just find an image up here, I'm hoping move it is going to be as simple as this. Click, drag, release. No button, just click, drag, release. I'm hoping that that is how move it's going to work within the game, but we might have to subscribe to a mod. I'll be very surprised, but yeah. Or it might be under Paradox mods. It might be. Anyway, citizens tend to value large homes, the proximity of shops, services they require, schools and workplaces, as well as pollution-free locations. I mean, duh. But yes, if the citizens find homes that suit their needs, they move in. And if they are happy living there and are wealthy enough, they will be able to pay a higher rent, which translates into an increase in the area's land value. It is important to note that simply plopping all city services into a neighbourhood doesn't increase the land value in the area automatically. Only when residents and companies have all their needs met, be it with services or shopping options for citizens, customers and resellers for companies, will land value be affected as the residents and companies feel the area is valuable to their existence. So it's not an instant click remedy. Put down the police station, everybody's happy. It's put down the police station, crime starts to drop, people become more happy. It's more subtle. It is more subtle. Loving it. Surely Move It has to be in the game. Surely. And Bob. I think Bob's less likely. But I'm sure Bob will appear as a mod fairly early. We're looking, I mean, all the top modders, they know what's needed. But they're going to have to work out how to manufacture these mods, because we are now working with a completely... We had a lot of information. We had a lot of learned knowledge from Cities Skylines 1 over the years. We're going to have to start learning things again. Well, I say we. Yeah, not me. I'm not learning it. I'm not learning how to mod. I'm too old for that. If the rent... Now, this is new. This next bit, hang in there. If the rent is higher than the upkeep cost of the building, the residents pool their leftover funds into improving the building, which eventually leads to the building levelling up. High demand for a specific zone type can also increase the rent and thus also the land value, as more people want to move into the city than there are places to live. So there we go. If the rent slowly increasing above the land value will increase the level of the building, which will give you a nice looking building, and so on. Lots of subtleties in this game. To keep the land value in check, if needed, you can adjust the various residential taxes. Let me just get some water. Hang on. You can adjust the various residential taxes, encouraging or discouraging citizens to move in. Also, zoning more of these zone types with high demand can keep the land value in check as the demand is met. It is also possible to simply limit the number of required services and leisure options to keep the land value low. Citizens can tolerate some shortcomings in regards to their needs and still live relatively happy lives. That is a really nice touch at the end. You don't need to have everything happy for a citizen. They'd be okay with one or two little downers. It's when you get lots of downers that they're going to start like moaning and groaning and taking to chirper. Very nice. Very nice addition. If citizens are not able and willing to pay higher rent, the rent decreases, which also affects the land value around the building. Residents will move out if the living costs are too high and they don't feel like their needs are being met in the area where they live, and some will even move out of the city. However, if the residents continue not to be able to meet the rent costs, the building will start to deteriorate as no money is used for the building's basic upkeep. The residents then move out in greater numbers and the building becomes abandoned. This further decreases the land value. Abandoned buildings can become occupied by homeless citizens, but due to the constant disrepair, the building will eventually collapse. So we're going to get slums if we're not careful. We are going to get slums. And it's just something a little bit special. A little bit special. Just a little added. It's not all about making things polished and shiny. You're going to try and keep the grimy areas from being completely... It's going to be a real great game. I'm saying it now. It's going to be a great game. Assuming it all works as it should work. Again, we've got some lovely packed roads there. I'm loving how packed those roads are. Beautiful. Loving the yellow lights and the skyscrapers. I'm sure they're going to fix that. Anyway, land value affects different residential zone types in different ways. Low density housing areas can quickly become expensive to live in as the land value increases. The higher land value affects the rent, and since low density housing has only one household per building, the increased rent falls on a single household entirely. Thus, lower income families tend to move out of these residential areas and search for new homes in medium density housing areas. Medium and high density housing areas are less affected by the increased land value, as the living costs are divided among many dozen households. Many citizens prefer living in smaller homes that cost less than struggling to make their rent. People are going to move to buildings that they can afford to live in if times are hard. I mean, wow. Okay? Especially if we're going to be able to click on the building and go, right, okay, this is Sonia Smith, her husband Michael Smith, their two generic children, John and Anne. It's like, and he works at the fire station. He's earning this. She's out of work. They can't afford to live in that 4-bedroom house. They're going to move into an apartment block. Just wow. Companies evaluate suitable locations for their businesses, partially using land value and the size of the rent, which is subtracted from the value of the company's production. This is real life. However, companies also take into consideration the location based on the material transportation costs. This is also real life. Companies pay for the transportation of materials to their location, as well as the transportation of produced goods and products from the company to resellers and customers. The lower the transportation costs, the more suitable a location is for a company. Similar to residential housing, companies use any money left over from covering the building's upkeep costs to improve the building and eventually level it up. So again, if they're doing well, they will spend money on the building will get better, and then it'll be upgraded. It's just all common sense, isn't it? Why can't we control the rents then? Land value doesn't necessarily... We don't control the rent. What about private landlords? Taxes is different, but rents is down to the private landlords. Too bad you cannot put a walking path with the house. A building always needs a road, while IRL houses sometimes only have a walking path and they're far from the road. We don't know that you can't, is what I'm going to say to that. We don't know that you can't. It was introduced quite late into plazas and promenades, where you didn't actually have, you had residential areas, not residential, what's the word? Pedestrianised areas. So it's possible, I guess. It's possible. We will see. What if you don't want to have private landlords? You communist. Oh, just teasing you. Just teasing you. Yeah, well, if you don't want to have private landlords, then own all the buildings in the city. Technically, land value does affect rent, yes, at least here in Brazil. Yeah. I mean, it will affect the rent. Not quite in the way that it's been described previously here, where if you've got 25 families in a skyrise, they're saying that the rents will be shared 25 ways. And I don't think that's quite how it works. If you've got a skyrise with 25 houses, apartments in it, I imagine you're going to get more rent than if you have a 2 up, 2 down residential house with only one person in it, because there are 25 properties in that skyrise. You're going to get, each one of those individual apartments, you will get maybe a quarter of the rent, but you're still going to end up making a lot more from the skyrise. Why would you not build a skyrise if you're not going to make more rent from it? Anyways, so we've done that one. Building levels. Building levels. All zone buildings have building levels from 1 to 5. Nothing new. 1 to 5. Building levels represent the progression of the building from a lower to a higher quality building and are the reflection of how wealthy its inhabitants are. As the building increases in level, its upkeep increases, which means its rent also increases. In residential buildings, electricity and water consumption also decreases per household as the buildings change at levels 3 and 5. A little bit of really just specific information there. So residential buildings, their consumption of water and electricity, meaning there's less draw on the grid for your production. As they go up, they use less. And more apartments are available in medium and high density residential buildings. In commercial buildings, electricity and water used 1 per unit of goods or products sold. Hang on a second. First time I read this before I started the stream, I couldn't make any sense of this. Let me try reading this sentence again. In commercial buildings, electricity and water used 1 per unit of goods or products sold decreases. In commercial buildings, electricity and water used per 1 unit of goods or products sold decreases. Basically, I guess, yeah, it'll make sense when we're looking at it. I can't make head nor tail of that sentence. It's I'm sure it's because it probably needs a comma somewhere. Probably needs an extra comma. I'm going to put a comma after of. It still won't make any sense because that's the wrong place, obviously. In commercial buildings, electricity and water used per 1 unit of goods or products sold decrease. There's probably a comma somewhere, but I just can't get my head of it. Anyway, furthermore, keep going, BonBon. Commercial buildings are able to produce goods and services faster, which means that they can sell them cheaper to consumers. This leads to citizens choosing higher level commercial companies over other options. So you make more profits selling to the big guys than you do to the little guys. Also realistic. One other thing that's realistic is, if you haven't already clicked the like button, now is a good time to do it. Come on, hit the like button. Right, similarly, in manufacturing and office buildings, electricity and water used to produce 1 unit of goods decreases. Higher level buildings adopt better utility practices, boosting their production efficiency and also generating less garbage and pollution. So again, the higher the levels go, the more efficient the buildings are, the higher the rents are. So it's kind of harder to maintain them at that level, but it's worth it if you can. Visually, buildings change at every other level, representing the increase in the quality of the building. So I'm guessing that's level 1, level 3 and level 5. Lower level buildings have an intended cheaper look, while higher level buildings adopt a more modern and detailed look. Communist. Well done, Rafa. Oh, if I had my sound effects plugged in, you could have an applause for that one. That are used per unit of goods. So, yeah, I mean, basically, I got the gist of it. I just can't make any sense of it. The phrasing. I think we all get the gist of it. Basically, yeah. The higher the level, the more efficient, the better. You know, this is what they're trying to say. Okay. The problem is they didn't provide context with that sentence. This is true. This is true, Larry. Again, this is why we have you as an analyst on Cities Skylines 2 o'clock. Take that sentence and post it on English grammar website. Please correct this sentence. Cheers, Embryo. Yeah, good move. Right, okay. As game players, we do control the means of production, so it's kind of communist already. Yep, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Why it's not clearly written. Yeah. The sentence grammatically is correct. I don't think it needs a comma. It's just a poor way of saying whatever. This is true. This is true. And to be fair, if this is actually written by Ivania, she's Danish, isn't she? She does speak good English. I've had a really good conversation, but her English is better than my Danish. My Danish is as good as my German, but you already knew that. You knew I was going to say that. I'm going to get some more of this water. Hang on. Been talking for an hour and a half now. I'm starting to croak. We've got some good stuff still coming. See the word signature buildings at the bottom? Yep, more good stuff to come. Right, I'm back with you. Right, visually buildings. We've done that. We've read all of that. Well done, BonBon. Okay, I'm going to move down. Signature buildings. This I absolutely approve of. I think it could be a really... If you're somebody who likes playing for achievements in games, but achievements don't really mean anything. I play Civ 6 just for fun on my own every now and then, and there's hundreds of achievements. You know, do this, win that, do that with one of these things while it's daylight or in the far north or where. You have to tick off all these tick boxes and you get an achievement. Doesn't do you anything at all in the game, but you get a little game achievement. What if the game achievements in game meant something? Signature building seems to be an in-game achievement that actually means something. Alright, with zone types and demand, it's covered. It's time to talk... Try again. Start again. Start from the top, BonBon. Alright, With zone types and demand covered, it's time to talk about signature buildings. These are a new feature in Cities Skylines 2 and can best be described as unique, ploppable zoned buildings, that fall into the familiar categories of residential, commercial, industrial, and office. Each signature building has its own unlocking requirements, such as the sculpture mansion having 3 requirements: reaching a certain progression milestone, attaining a specific citizen happiness level, and having a certain number of cells zoned with low density residential housing. So I want to build a sculpture mansion. I've reached a milestone, I've got a certain level of happiness, but I know to be able to place that I need to zone a number of extra low density. You know what you're looking for to be able to achieve these things. Once met, the building becomes available and can be placed anywhere on the map, similar to service buildings. The building is unique and can only be placed once, until mods, but only be placed once, and is entirely free to build once you have unlocked it. It can be relocated just like any other ploppable building, and bulldozing it allows you to rebuild it again at a later date. The only thing that's not said here is, let's say the building becomes available, but then my happiness level drops. Does it become unavailable? And what happens if it becomes available and I place it, and then I bulldoze it, and notice only at that point that my happiness level isn't high enough? Can I then place it back down again? I don't know if that's still, but at the end of the day, ignore the will it still be possible to build it. I love this idea. First of all, having specific requirements to unlock it, some of them requiring multiple, so you know what you're looking for. You've got actual specific, fairly straightforward things to go for. I like that. Right, signature buildings function similarly to regularly zoned buildings and contribute to the zones-based economic cycle. A residential building welcomes new residents, while a commercial building, office or factory seeks a suitable business to occupy it. The same laws of success and failure affect the companies residing in the signature building as any other business. They require a suitable workforce, compete for the same customers, and try to turn a profit to be successful. So it's like unlocking Rico buildings. It's kind of like unlocking Rico buildings, only a little bit more specific in how you do it. Hi Gerard. Hiya. Good to see you. So yes, no, Bruce, signature buildings can only be placed once. Think of them like the unique buildings in Cities Skylines 1, but instead of just being a tourism magnet, which is basically what they were in Cities Skylines 1, they are actual working buildings. So this signature building here, which I think is residential, it's a residential building. This will actually be a residential building in game. It will sit there empty until people move into it, but you'll only be able to place it once until mods, because I'm sure mods will prevent that from becoming the problem. This sounds like the unique buildings, but they function. Yes, Ivania has sorted it here. It can be best described as unique, ploppable zoned buildings that fall into the familiar categories of a Rico. So unique, but ploppable, but zoned. All 3 of those things. And can only be placed once. Right, so then beyond that though, there's more. Each signature building has 1 or more positive effects. So not just residential, not just creating office jobs. These range from effects affecting God, you know what? That's very good English, Vanya. These range from effects affecting the neighbourhood to effects that are city-wide. Some affect citizen well-being. Capital? Oh, we go with capitals for... I'm with you. Right, it's fair enough. Right. Some affect citizen well-being and city attractiveness for tourists, while others improve the city's entire industrial sector or boost high-level education effectiveness and more. Either way, they offer interesting new effects and options for your city. So not only do we have to unlock them using specific targets that we might have to go out of our way to, not anything major, but maybe we need to put in a third railway station in the city or something like that. You may have to put in something new into the city or target something into a city like the happiness levels or the land value levels. And then once you've done that, that building might bring something extra back into your city, which is really, really cool. I mean, genuinely excellent. Less excellent is this building model. This is straight out of Cities Skylines 1, isn't it? Like here, I'm going to, I don't know how much of this you can read on your screen, but this is the Coda Park, unique building. This gives 1% office efficiency citywide. So that's a boost to your entire city, only 1%, but if you've got a few of those bonuses in play, that will really benefit the city. 5% interest in university education across the city. 1% university graduation chance, a bonus across the city. And 5% well-being within 1 kilometre. So this building will give you all of those benefits. It's just a lovely little addition to the game. Excuse me. So there will still be unique buildings too, like a church. Well, these might be... Oh, yes, a thought. Churches. There should have been more churches in game, in the base game. That's not just churches, but religious worship areas. So I'm still croaking. I've got some water on the go here. But yeah, unique buildings. I'm imagining. I don't think there'll be any churches as signature buildings, but maybe there will be. Maybe there will be. What are they going to be producing? What are they going to be producing? That hideous building. It is hideous. It is straight out of Cities Skylines 1, that one. Mind you, some of the buildings do look very reminiscent of some of them. The description of the Coda Park. A modern office building where coffee gets converted into game design, art and code. Yep. Brilliant. Brilliant, Larry. Loving that. There should be I don't think it's a good idea. Never mix religion. I mean, it's bad enough. Religion in Civilization 6 is always a little bit... the amount of people that name their religion something a little bit iffy and then decide it's funny to share it on Reddit or Facebook. Yeah. Anyway, I think we got to the bottom. There we go. Right. This concludes today's development diary. We hope this provides you with a good understanding of how zoning works in Cities Skylines 2, with the addition of the new zone types and signature buildings. Are you looking forward to incorporating medium density, and mixed zoning into your cities? And what do you think about signature buildings? Let us know below. Next week we will tackle the topic of city services, including both familiar and new options. We hope to see you then. And I say to that, please give us more interesting and familiar options. I'm loving all of it. I'm loving it. Should not be a religious system. But yeah, I mean, yes, I'm with you on that one, Raina. Having like community services in the broader sense. So yeah, churches, community centres, leisure centres, all those sort of things that can bring the communities together. But yeah, having as a city designer, you're not like designing something to replace Islam or anything like that. That's not how it works. You're putting down buildings, buildings for worship. I'm okay with that. We're synagogues and mosques and churches. I'm good with all of that. I'm not religious, but if somebody's got faith, it's a good thing. And if my citizens in my Sims in my city have faith, they've got to go and worship somewhere. It's fine. It adds realism. I'm not quite sure how they would fit into this signature buildings model, because all of these seem to be tied into the Rico. And it's Sirens, the BonBonB Bingo players there. But yes, it's that doesn't tie into that. Before we start winding the stream up, and motorbikes as well. Before we start ringing, first of all, again, if you're here and you haven't hit the like button, now's a very good time to do so, because you will forget otherwise, and I'll forget to ask you. Also, I'm planning in about half an hour or so after the stream ends to start a new stream, not City Skylines. I'm just in the mood to play a game. And there's a specific game that I want to play that I've been rage quitting a lot, and I'm less likely to rage quit if there's a few people watching me. So you will help me not to rage quit. We're looking at XCOM 2. So if you want to watch me play a little bit of XCOM 2 a little bit later on, it will be on this channel, not on BonBonB Too. Feel free to jump in and join me there. I'm not expecting a huge view, but I'll be doing that in a little while, in a half an hour or so. Anyway, so yes, this has been a really good. There's so much after the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've been talking for nearly 2 hours here, and after the last couple of weeks, where they've been, I mean, a little bit light, and some of them they were so light that they were repeating the same things in the same way but different ways. They just didn't have much to say. But this one, there was so much to say. And I think you can tell how proud they are by the way it's been described. They are so proud of what they produced. I think that this will be a major reason to want to play vanilla or vanilla rules. Less detail builds. In the first couple of years, I think we're going to be looking at people actually playing this game seriously, trying to get everything to come together and work and flow as a proper city. I'm loving all of it. You're going to watch. Oh, bless you, Gerard. Thank you. Last question: did the car alarm earlier qualify as a siren? I didn't even notice the car alarm. I'm so used to car alarms going off around here as well, but it doesn't count as a. But no, the emergency services sirens are the only ones that count there. Shop alarms don't account for that either, because you'll quite often hear them. Rafa, and I'll just make it like religion, happiness, fulfillment. Any religious building would be able to satisfy that. It could be an interesting thing. Maybe raise it. I'm imagining that it might be along the lines of maybe Paradox might, if they decide to go for that, they might go, oh no, it's a bit too controversial. Not that I just don't see it as part of a city build a mechanic, but having it as just like as an overall meeting the community's needs kind of thing, along with right up there with the parks. I think of a church like a park. I'm going to go and worship nature. I'm going to worship the deity, and I'm going to worship swimming. I'm going to go and swim. I'm going to worship the water gods. Yeah. I think there were 12 residential signature buildings for now. Now, I was saying earlier about DLCs. I think, and themes, because we've already seen that we've got DLCs coming. I don't have them to hand. But, excuse me. Like we have that San Francisco DLC coming. There's a few. There was a high-tech rail one or something like that? So we've definitely got a DLC model coming. without question. I'm expecting there'll be DLCs for like Japanese theme buildings, maybe African theme buildings. And they came in really late with Africa in Cities Skylines 1. Maybe Brazilian theme. I think we're going to be seeing vanilla themes popping out, and just a whole range of available options. I think it'd be pretty cool. Have you played Workers and Resources? I haven't. I was a little bit tempted, but I just don't have the time to take on something big. Hi, Nishayo. Oh, come on. Nishayo. I'm sorry if I'm getting that really badly go. But see you, Larry. Thanks for being there. But no, Larry, I don't have time. My gameplay, personally, Civ 6, because you can make a turn and then not do anything for an hour and then take a turn. Especially if I'm at work, in between like jobs and whatever, I can have that just sat in the background. It's not a problem. With something as intensive as Workers and Resources, it's a bit much, really. What with Skylines on the go, my dipping game is Rocket League, just to chill out with. So yeah, there's not enough hours in the day. But I'd like to say a little bit of XCOM 2 in half an hour or so, just so that I don't rage quit. It's a hard game, all right? I finished XCOM 1. It was so much fun. XCOM 2, I've started so many games of XCOM 2, and I've rage quit them all. So anyway, we're going to be doing that. Anyway, thanks Alex, thanks Embryo, thanks Larry, thanks Nishayo, thanks Rafa, thanks Kevin. Yeah, we'll be doing all of that. Thanks Gerard, and thanks Raina. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. If you want to shout out, thanks Bruce. Alex, thanks Alex. I'm scrolling up. Am I missing anybody else? But yes, if I've missed you and you want to shout out, you can do that now. Could you stream Workers and Resources? Well, I'd need to buy it first. I need to install it. And honestly, especially with Skylines 2 coming in a few months' time, and that'll be my main focus. I've got a whole bunch of games on my system that I've never played. Let me have a quick look. Things like excuse me, Tomb Raider. I've got Tomb Raider, never played that. I've never given The Witcher 3 a real run. I've got What Remains of Edith Finch. I've got, again, just scrolling randomly here, Alien Isolation, 911 Operator, Ark Survival. And I mean, I'm just skimming the surface here, and then I've got a whole bunch of the free games that were given away on Epic that I've never ever got around to doing anything with. So I've got a whole bunch. I don't really Workers and Resources. It's tempting. But no, I think I'll skip that one. So anyway, if anybody wants to watch the XCOM 2 stream, I don't know how long I'll stream for. I don't even know if the stream will be stable. Notification bell now. It'll probably, let's say, in about half an hour, by about half past the hour, I'll be doing a little bit of that, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll keep the chat open and keep an eye on that, so you can interact with me and tell me how dumb I am when all my people die. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. I'll see you with some of you again very, very soon. That's it. I don't have an outro, so we're just going to end the stream. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for your time.